Hello students, welcome again on the YouTube channel of Next IAS. I am Anil Tiwari. I am back again with another session of daily news analysis. Today we have picked 5 articles, 4 for prelims and 1 for mains. In the prelim section, we will be discussing disinformation, a major issue, a major threat for the near future as a first article. Second article, we will be discussing on offshore mining. Kerala MP in the parliament has raised some issues. Government has replied. We will see what this issue is all about. The third article will be on Sabarmati Ashram and the government's plan to renovate it, and some people are opposing to it. We will look at what Sabarmati Ashram is and what other ashrams did Gandhi establish, because everything related to Gandhi is very important. The fourth article in prelim section will be on Mahabodhi Temple. The right over this temple is a dispute, so we will discuss that. And then at the last, we will discuss AQI and the CAG report on AQI as a mains topic, and we will have a fun. Let's start with our discussion. So the first article relates to disinformation. World Economic Forum has released a report that they term as a risk report, and that report is suggesting that for a short period of time, or let's say in a short run, disinformation poses one of the biggest challenges around the world. Why there is a bigger threat of disinformation? We will look at it. We will look at it. The article writer is suggesting certain measures that can be taken to avoid these issues and threats, and then we will jump on to see what is World Economic Forum and what different kinds of reports it generates. It will be very interesting for both your prelims and mains perspective. So let's start, and the backdrop is simple, that this report has been released by World Economic Forum 2025. The report says Global Risks Report. I'll give you a trick. Whenever you see a report that has global, the word global in it, mark World Economic Forum as your answer. More often than not, or let's say 99%, you will be right. So any report that is starting from global, something global and then report. Alright, that's a trick which you should follow. In your GS1 society, GS2 governance, this topic will be relevant. So the story goes that you and I both know that disinformation is very threatening, threatening in a way that it is disrupting the political, let's say, divide lines, social divide lines, or religious lines on which the society is divided. So this disinformation is creating so much trouble to many democracies, especially democracies, because it runs and renders people in anger, and then many bad things happen. So it is high time that the World Economic Forum, a forum that is looking after the world economy, or let's say at least studying the world economy and giving us insights to be better, is giving this report, and this report will become very relevant for countries to start their initiatives to tackle this disinformation. So if you look at the three different terms of threat which they are looking at, let's say 10 years, 2 years, and very recent. So they are looking at 2 years. They say that misinformation and disinformation is one of the biggest threat. This is the major report. Then for 10 years, it is saying that extreme weather conditions and climate change, that we all know, are long-term threat to the stability and prosperity of the world. So this is some of these targets. So this is basically 10 years, 2 years, and very long term. This is long term. So moving ahead, why disinformation is a threat? Very simply put, that AI generated content is now available, very easily available. You all know that Ghibli image generation frenzy that happened recently, everybody got hooked onto it, and that's how AI generated content is there. So you can generate any manipulated video. Let's say you can put anybody's face on anybody's body, and then you can generate any video, and people will believe it because they are not aware about it enough. Then we have algorithmic biases. So whatever data fact you feed into AI, they will give answer according to that, but people believe that wrongly. They believe that AI has their own brain. It's not like that. Whatever data you will feed, they will give answers like that. So they will have a bias. If you ask something, they will give a particular answer depending on what you have fed already. So that's how bias will be there, then deep social divides are there in the society, and all this become very hard to disassociate or let's say resolute facts and fiction. This becomes very hard. Then there is a fertile ground available, giving the political and social landscape available in India. So it is a very fertile ground for disinformation to rise. Then we have this crisis is not just political, it is moving beyond political realm. It is going towards consumer boycotts, it is going towards economic conflicts, then international tensions. All this is leading because of disinformation. For example, in China, there is a lot of disinformation that spreads about India. India is presented in a very wrong and very deceptive manner. That fuels their anger towards India, and that leads to international tensions. Then Joe Biden was talking about tech oligarchy. In this age of disinformation, the bigger platforms like Twitter, now X, or let's say Facebook, all these big platforms are owned by oligarchs, very rich people, and they are controlling all the information. So disinformation combined with this oligarchy will be called as tech oligarchy, as called by former President of United States of America, Joe Biden. Then we have international image and threats. For example, that I have already discussed, that India faced a lot of Chinese disinformation attacks since 2017, and then we have banned a lot of apps also. Moving ahead, this there are some certain suggestions which this report is talking about, very important for your mains examination. What kind of suggestions you will think? Yes, we will think that we should upskill the developers in order to come up with new algorithms, new public awareness campaigns, so that we can tackle this problem wholeheartedly. We should improve the digital literacy also, because digital literacy will ensure that people are aware about these issues at hand. We can also ensure increased accountability through supervisory boards and AI councils that will monitor whatever AI is generating. So that will basically solve this problem, that AI's power will be curtailed in a good manner. We should think about initiatives like Shakti. There was a initiative by the let's say during the election of 2024. They were checking facts in order to prevent hijacking of democracy. So that was very good. So we should look at such initiatives, very important for your mains examination as an example. Then online ads should be having clear information that who is funding this ad and for what purposes this ad is running, because sometimes you cannot differentiate between an ad and an actual post. That can be done. Then we should expand the public awareness initiatives like Reserve Bank जो अमिताभ बच्चन के साथ फाइनेंशियल लिटरेसी के लिए कर रहे हैं, that kind of initiative can be taken place. We should obviously collaborate with civil society organizations, because civil society organizations have a greater access to the ground reality. They have a great number of foot soldiers that can go out and do a better job. So we should collaborate with them. Then we should think about the regulatory bodies also. These regulatory bodies, for example, IREDA or RBI or let's say other regulatory bodies, what they can do is they can tackle this disinformation by audits and transparency actions. For example, they can call upon these very large online platforms, for example more than 45 million users. They can say that you need to have a audit and transparency action framework for you. So what it is saying that, okay, our regulatory bodies like CBI or let's say NIA, what they can do, they can go and talk to Twitter or let's say Facebook and ask them to come up with audit and accountability frameworks. That's an idea. Then we should have a support system for research about disinformation and FIMI, meaning foreign information manipulation and interference. This is a kind of attack that happens through disinformation. We should have a system for independent research on this. Then also we should have coalition between different countries, because the nature of disinformation attacks are such that it is a global threat. Now quickly let us look at World Economic Forum. It is an organization framed by a mechanical engineer, Klaus Schwab. He basically had a little bit knowledge about public administration. A lot of you guys may have this as a optional public PubEd. He had a master's in public administration and he was also a engineer, mechanical engineer. So some of you can relate with him. he established this in 1971. It is a world body that basically public private cooperation के लिए काम करती है. स्पेशल बात यही है इसकी, it tries to cooperate, establish a cooperation between public and private enterprises. It is headquartered in Geneva, Switzerland. Remember, question have been there from World Economic Forum. In 2009, there was a question on who was the founder of World Economic Forum, and then later on there were questions from its reports. So major reports are very important. Certain reports which it published, the present which we are discussing, the global risk report, then it publishes global gender gap reports. We were 129th and 2024. Basically this is measuring between gap between genders in different areas. Then we have global cooperation barometer, how much the international community is cooperating among each other. Then we have top 10 emerging technologies. So this is also report generated by World Economic Forum. Remember, anything with global will be World Economic Forum. Then we have global cybersecurity outlook, a report to examine cybersecurity security risks and other things regarding it. Then we have future of jobs report, energy transition index. Then we have global travel and tourism report. Always remember, World Economic Forum is a consortium led by business people. So they always release reports that are good for future, that the report which will benefit the future of business. So remember, if a report is sounding like that, for example, see energy transition index, basically which countries is transitioning towards greener energy, which will, because that will determine how business will be done. Then we have future of jobs report, so it is again regarding that. So remember that little trick. Then what are the legal provisions in India regarding disinformation? So we have section 353 of BNS. This basically deals with information that may cause public alarm or fear, offences against the state, disturbance of public tranquility, or incitement or enmity or ill will among various groups based on religion, race, caste and language or region. So this will be done under 353, and there can be a punishment of 3 years, a fine, or both, or you can have a 5 years punishment, fine, if the offences occurred during a religious ceremony. So very specific provision regarding India, 353, remember. Then there were certain Supreme Court cases. Very important to remember that there have been development regarding this issue, disinformation. So we had this state of Karnataka case in 2004, in which the role of the state to control public and to maintain public order and to curtail disinformation that was causing the public order was emphasized. Basically, the state was given responsibility and recognized that okay, you have responsibility to maintain peace and public order. Then we have Pravasi Bhalai Sangathan versus Union of India 2014 case. In this, the earlier sections of IPC were held, that it was told also that okay, these sections can handle disinformation, because disinformation was not an issue back then, so there was no section regarding it. Supreme Court said okay, these sections can work. So now you can look at 353. Then Shrey Singhal, the very famous case where IT Act का important जो section था उसको struck down किया था और बोला था कि एक बैलेंस होना चाहिए, डिसइंफॉर्मेशन के नाम पे आप किसी को भी अरेस्ट नहीं कर सकते, तो राइट्स थोड़े से इंप्रूव किए थे. देन वी हैव अमीश देवगन, वेयर जर्नलिस्ट वाज reprimanded in order to not spread disinformation to a larger extent. So we have all these Supreme Court cases, we have suggestions, we have issues, we have known why disinformation can be challenging, we have the report also, we have different perspective on this also. Based on that, try to attempt this question, and we will give you a mains question also. So try to solve the mains question also. So this will be a nice practice. Now let's see the next topic, offshore mining. Very important topic, because offshore mining is not limited to just offshore mining. We should also know the different zones in the sea, as question has come recently. In prelims, UPSC has asked these questions, so we will look at that also. So Union Minister has said that offshore mining is not causing damage in Kerala. Union Minister has said, but MP from Kerala basically raised this issue in the Parliament. So it will come under distribution of key natural resources, GS1, and also India and World Geography for prelims. What is offshore mining? So by the term, it is very clear that शोर के बाहर जाके, ऑफ शोर मतलब शोर को छोड़ के, बेसिकली किनारे को छोड़ के, समंदर के किनारे को छोड़ के आप माइनिंग कर रहे हो। माइनिंग करोगे तो क्या मिलेगा, वहाँ बहुत सारी चीज़ें मिल सकती हैं, डिफरेंट एरियाज आपको मिल सकते हैं, जहाँ मे बी आपको मल्टी मेटल नोड्यूल्स मिल जाएं, या आपको हो सकता है एक पर्टिकुलर टाइप का सैंड मिले, मे बी कंस्ट्रक्शन के लिए सैंड आपको चाहिए, वो भी निकल सकती है। सो डिफरेंट काइंड ऑफ रिसोर्सेज कैन कम फ्रॉम ऑफशोर माइनिंग, and there are different blocks in India, and offshore mining is going on, but not in Kerala as of now. No mining is going on in Kerala. So the news said that okay, there was a calling attention motion moved by Congress MP on the hardship faced by the fishermen community on the Kerala coast, and very important to know a little bit about Indian fisheries. Why? Because fisheries basically contributing around 1.24% to India's global value added, that is GVA, and around 8%, 7.5% at least in the agriculture GVA. So very big section of the agriculture sector and big section of the Indian industry. Our fish production is also only second to China. We are producing a lot of fish. So we are only second to, first is China. Then we also have countries' fish production that is increasing exponentially. So you can see that from 184 lakh tons to around 90, from 95 to 184. So it has jumped very largely, and export is also increasing. This fact says that export is also increasing. So it is a very sunrise sector. It is very important sector, and offshore mining can impact it. Why? Because offshore mining is done just on the just outside the shore. So there can be disruptions. We will look at what kind of disruption can happen. So we brought offshore mining through Offshore Area Mineral Development and Regulation Rule Act. We amended them in 2010, and we brought this. And although no mining activity is there at the coast of Kerala, but there are 13 offshore blocks, and 3 are there on the shore of Kerala, on the, let's say, coast of Kerala. And they are beyond 12 nautical miles, which comes under the exclusive economic zone. So what is this exclusive economic zone? What is this 12 nautical mile? We will look at it very soon. So what is the potential for India? We can see that we have 7,500 kilometers of coastline and EEZ spanning around 2.3 million square kilometer exclusive economic zone. Such a big exclusive economic zone we have. Because of that, we have around 13 offshore blocks, out of which 3 blocks are construction and sand of Kerala. Then we have 3 blocks of lime mud of Gujarat. Remember lime mud? Okay. Then we have 7 blocks of polymetallic nodules and crust of Great Nicobar Island. So we have here, and we have here. Very important for your prelims. Very important. So remember this, that we have 3 different areas in which we have 13 blocks. Then what will be the impact of this offshore mining? So impact, you can guess that habitat destruction will take place. The marine life will be disrupted. Then we can see that it will adversely affect the livelihood of the fishermen, because they are dependent on the marine resources. These loud operations, because mining is a loud activity, they will disrupt the animal behavior, and especially dolphins, very sensitive animals, they will be basically impacted. Then we also have oil spill risks, because if you do all these offshore mining, then oil can come out, a little bit oil can come out, and then there might be issues. This is very important because UN clause basically defines all these things. So we need to understand it, because UPSC already asked question. So it may be repeated, and it can be asked again in other exam also, in UPSC also. So first and foremost, look at the high seas. These are international waters, nobody owns them. They are called high seas. So they are beyond 200 nautical miles. They are beyond 200 nautical miles. But when you come inside and up until 24 nautical mile and then 12 nautical mile, you will find exclusive economic zone. What we will find? You will find EEZ. This was mentioned in the article also. Then from between 12 and 24, you will find contiguous zone. And then the bottom, this area will be called continental shelf. And then it will be called extended continental shelf and the area. And then it will go away. So this is not important, but this is very important. Exclusive economic zone is this much. And then high seas. Then you should know territorial seas are there. They are basically owned by the country and nobody can enter it. So this is basically territorial sea. This is coast. This is considered as coast. So UN clause, what is UN clause? That is United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea. This is basically law of the sea, meaning that all the seas area, the land area is very defined, very much defined, but seas are defined under UN clause, and this is the method of calculating. So there will be a practice question. Try to solve this question and submit your answers in the comment section. All right. We will jump to the next article, that is Sabarmati Ashram and Gandhi Ji. See, Sabarmati Ashram has been in news because government wants to redevelop it. It will become important for our exam because there might be a question from this part, because every other year or every year I will say there is a question from Gandhi Ji. So very important for us, so that we cover this very nicely. So Supreme Court has refused to stay, or let's say the plea has been refused by the Supreme Court. It will come under freedom struggle. It's important contributors GS1 and Indian National Movement for prelims. So the Sabarmati Ashram is very important for us. So who established it? You guessed it, Mahatma Gandhi established it in 1917. Remember the date. In 1917 at the western bank of the Sabarmati river in Gujarat. It is near to Ahmedabad. Then we have it is managed by the Sabarmati Ashram Preservation and Memorial Trust, that is SAPMT. And ashram was originally called Satyagraha Ashram because it was associated with Satyagraha movement. Also remember, it is often called Harijan Ashram also. Harijan Ashram. Why it is called Harijan Ashram? We will look at it. And further a little bit more about this ashram. Then Gandhiji launched a lot of movements from this ashram, but very interestingly, he went away from this ashram promising that, okay, I will not come back until I find freedom. Okay, so he went away from this ashram saying that I will not come back until I will find freedom. There was a strategic movement also. There was a strategic basically action by Gandhi. Why? You will look at if you look at the India's map, then you will find that how he was very strategical. So he took two actions. One, he said that I will not come back until I find freedom for India. Secondly, he went on to establish an ashram in a rural area, because near Ahmedabad, it was near city. So in rural area, why did he go? Because he wanted the political movement to go into rural area. So remember this is a map of India. Somewhere here was the Sabarmati Ashram in the western side. But India cannot be connected, or you cannot go everywhere in India if you are on the one side of India. So he went somewhere here in Wardha. This is just in the middle. So from the bottom you can come here, from top you can come, from west you can come, from east you can come. So middle he went. That was the strategic move by Gandhi. So from this ashram, Sabarmati Ashram, he launched Champaran. For what Champaran was launched? Comment in the comment section. The Ahmedabad mill strike, the Kheda Satyagraha, the initial 3 experiments which Gandhi did. Then later on Khadi movement 1918, Rowlatt Act, Khilafat movement, then non-cooperation 1920s में आ जाएगा, वो बंद हो जाएगा, फिर दांडी यात्रा होगी. तो ये सारी चीजें साबरमती आश्रम से उन्होंने की थी. ठीक है. On July 31st, 1933, Mahatma Gandhi left the Sabarmati Ashram forever. He vowed that I will never come back until he find the freedom for India. Then there is a cottage called Vinoba Kutir. This is for Vinoba Bhave, and it is for him. Then other important ashrams are also there. These important ashrams are Phoenix Ashram in the Natal in 1904. Then we have Tolstoy Farm outside Johannesburg in 1910. Remember, UPSC has asked question on Tolstoy's book, that what was the book that impacted Gandhi the most. Tolstoy ki I think wo kitab thi. So remember, whatever thing that is associated with Gandhi becomes very important for UPSC prelims. 3 in India, he established 3 ashrams. The first ashram was established in the Kochrab area of Ahmedabad. I guess this ashram only got transferred into Sabarmati Ashram. So Sabarmati Ashram, Ahmedabad in 1970. Then Sevagram in Wardha. This was 1936. So based on this discussion, try and attempt this question. We will jump to the next article. The next article relates to Mahabodhi Temple. So this temple is very old, very ancient thing for India, very important thing for India, and it is believed that Lord Buddha, Mahatma Buddha, got his Buddhitva here only, and the Bodhi tree, the revered Bodhi tree was also here, on which he basically sat in this Bhumi Spars mudra, in which he claims that he found the Buddhitva. So this is very important, that Mahabodhi temple is in dispute. Unfortunately, what is the dispute? We will discuss it. So it will come in architecture, art and architecture, GS1, and also history of India, and demonstration across India has been taken by All India Buddhist Forum in order to get the rights to basically control this temple. There was a previous year question very recently, UNESCO site they have asked, and here Mahabodhi Bodh Gaya temple was mentioned. So very important for you guys to study this. So Mahabodhi temple complex, it is a temple complex. Why it is important? Because it is a sacred site for Buddhists. There are 4 sacred sites. Others are Lumbini, that is birthplace, then Sarthnath, that is the first sermon, Dharma Chakra Pravartanaya, then Kushinagar, Parinirvana, you know, when he got the Nirvana. So Lumbini is very important. Now location, it is in Bodh Gaya, Bihar, on the banks of what? Remember, Niranjana river. Niranjana river. Moving along, what is the history of this? Built by Emperor Ashoka originally in the 3rd century BCE. Then additional structure were built by Shungas, the Pushyamitra Shunga. Okay, and then current structure dates back to 5th to 6th century CE during reign of Guptas. Palas, 8th to 12th century were the last patrons. So remember, all kinds of religious, let's say Ashoka was Buddhist, but there were so many Jainas, Hindus, and every Brahmanical rules, everybody contributed to this temple. So there is no dispute there. But it was declared all UNESCO World Heritage Site in 2002 also. But a Shaivite monk, Mahant Gamandi Giri, arrived in Gaya around 1590, and he established Bodh Gaya Mutt, a Hindu monastery. And then Giri's descendants continued to control the Mahabodhi temple and treated Lord Buddha as 9th incarnation of Lord Vishnu. So Hindus believe that Lord Buddha was also a incarnation of Lord Vishnu, and that's how the control is with this organization. Calls for temple to be handed over to Buddhists can be traced back to late 19th century, led by Sri Lankan monk Angarika Dhammapala. So Angarika Dhammapala, Sri Lankan monk, led this movement, and now this movement has taken a wind. Now for us it is important that we discuss the architectural feature of this temple. So we have 50-meter pyramidal shikhar, that is typical for Indian temples, adorned with intricate carving and arch motifs. We have 4 smaller towers, each crowned with an umbrella shaped dome encircle the main temple. So we have 4 smaller towers. Then we have sacred Bodhi tree is seen in the descent of the original Bodhi tree under which Buddha attained enlightenment in 589 BCE. So remember that the Bodhi tree present now is a descendant of the original Bodhi tree. Then Vajrasana stone slab, we have a stone slab that is marking where Buddha meditated. It is built by Emperor Ashoka. Very old throne rock is there. Then temple shrine has a yellow sandstone statue of Buddha enclosed into glass preservation. This is basic about this Mahabodhi temple. Now attempt this question. The last article relates to AQI. We will discuss this also. This is important for your mains. And so the very interesting part about AQI is that CAG has come out with a report. The CAG is saying that okay, the pollution control in the Delhi NCR region, or let's say pollution control mechanism that we have adopted, are not functioning well, and they have come up with certain criticism also. We will look at it. First and foremost, we will see that it is important for your geography GS3. बेसिकली ज्योग्राफी के लिए इम्पोर्टेंट है आपका ये ठीक है GS1 में, और GS3 में environment air pollution के लिए इम्पोर्टेंट है. ओके, so what is you can see that there was a question from this part in 2016 that we have carbon dioxide, monoxide, nitrogen oxide, sulfur oxide, methane, and they asked air quality index में क्या क्या आता है. Then we have another question from this area, WHO air quality guidelines consider the following statement: दे आस्क PM 2.5, PM 2.5, PM 10, इन सब के बारे में पूछा था. And then we have mains question, that is National Clean Air Program, 250 mark, 250 words, 15 mark. So it is important that we look at air quality and all the mechanisms that are going on. So we have discussed this earlier discussion of DNA also. So take a hint from that, and then this article we will discuss in a different detail. So what did CAG say? CAG ने क्या बोला? CAG ने बोला कि एक अप्रोच बड़ी ही lackadaisical है. Basically meaning that the approach is very just making a chore. It's a becoming a habit that all these things that should be taken very seriously are not taken seriously. It is saying that there are major policy gaps, weak enforcement and poor coordination among agencies are key reasons behind the worsening pollution scenario in the national capital. So CAG is saying that it is not that geography or other things are leading to the worsening situation. Geography and environmental condition might be a cause, but the policy, the government's effort are very poor. It is leading to this worsening air pollutions. How it is leading? It is saying that over 1.08 lakh vehicles emitting carbon monoxide and hydrocarbon beyond the permissible limit issued by PUC certificates. So PUC certificates, you know and I know how they are generated, how people acquire them, and beyond those PUC certificates, around 1 lakh vehicles are emitting more carbon monoxide and hydrocarbons than allowed. Then it is saying that there are instances of multiple vehicle getting PUC certificates at the same time or within a minute, meaning that there is a center within a minute it is giving PUC certificates to 5 vehicles 5 सेकंड के अंदर 10 सेकंड के अंदर. That has to be done through corruption. There is no other way. So there is corruption. Between 2015 and 2020, nearly 4,000 diesel vehicle failing to comply with guidelines received PUC certificates. तो 4,000 के करीब करीब गाड़ियाँ जो कि PUC सर्टिफिकेट नहीं मिलना चाहिए उनको PUC सर्टिफिकेट दिया है. 2018 से 21 के बीच में 47 लाख आउट ऑफ 47 लाख ओवर एज व्हीकल ओनली 3 लाख बट डी रजिस्टर्ड. सो करीब करीब 50 लाख व्हीकल्स हैं जो कि बहुत पुराने हैं, बहुत पोल्यूशन करते हैं, उनमें से सिर्फ 3 लाख को डी रजिस्टर किया गया है. Then it is saying that only not even one of 347 impounded vehicles scrapped by March 2021. So 347 vehicle impound किए गए, एक भी scrap नहीं किया गया. Poor scrapping capacity अपनी. It is further saying that ISBT बनाने थे 2 बट वो बने नहीं. सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने भी बोला था 1998 में, तब से नहीं बने. So these are the issues which CAG has pointed out. So what is this air quality index? We will learn a little bit of basic about air quality index. It is a color coded AQI, basically an index which shows that okay, the air quality is severe or poor or much worse. So it is basically a tool to measure air quality and to basically combat the pollution. So this is a sample from AQI and you can see color grading. So from top to bottom you go and you increase the severity of the pollution. So at the bottom it is severe, and then very poor, moderately polluted, satisfactory, good, and these categories are very important. And then we have 8 pollutants. These 8 pollutants are also important. We have PM10, 2.5, NO2, then we have ozone, carbon monoxide, SO2, ammonia and lead. All these are coming under AQI. Further we have these standards set by not only India CPCB but US EPA also. So PM10 का जो स्टैंडर्ड है वो इंडिया में सेट है 0 से 100 के बीच में, और PM 2.5 का जो स्टैंडर्ड है 0 से 60 के बीच में, बट यूएस में वही 0 से 54 के बीच में है, और PM 2.5 0 से 12 के बीच में है. ठीक है, अब डिफरेंट पोल्यूटेंट्स हैं, उनके सोर्स क्या है, उनका इम्पैक्ट क्या है, फटाफट देख लेते हैं. तो देखो 2.5 और 10 जो हैं वो पार्टिकल्स होते हैं जो हवा में सस्पेंडेड रहते हैं. इनका जो सोर्स है, यू गेस्ड इट, कंस्ट्रक्शन भी है, ट्रांसपोर्ट सेक्टर भी है और फैक्ट्रीज भी हैं, सब हर जगह से छोटे छोटे पार्टिकल्स पैदा होते हैं और इससे मेजरली रेस्पिरेटरी इश्यूज होते हैं. एस्थमा का इशू है और अदर इश्यूज हैं जो आपके लंग्स को इम्पैक्ट करते हैं, ये बाद में कार्सिनोजेनिक भी हो सकते हैं. वी हैव कार्बन मोनोऑक्साइड, वी ऑल नो बिकॉज ऑफ inadequate combustion of the carbonic sources leads to generation of this gas. This is basically a toxic gas which leads to asphyxiation, basically leads to choking. You die because of lack of oxygen. You have hemoglobin. On this this carbon monoxide gets attached, and this reduces your ability to take oxygen to your organs. And CO poisoning, that is called CO poisoning, it can happen, chest pain can happen, and many other things can happen. It is released by automotive emission, fires, and many chimneys and kitchen chimneys, many other places. Then we have ozone, very important. Ozone is basically composed of 3 oxygen atoms, and it is emitted by industrials emissions, automobiles, house हाउस फायर, और लेट्स से किचन से भी निकलती है, बहुत सारी जगह से निकलती है, बहुत सारे केमिकल एजेंट्स होते हैं जिनको अगर आप ओपन करते हो तो उनमें से भी ओजोन निकलती है. एंड देन दिस बेसिकली रिड्यूसेस lung capacity, it affects your mental well-being also, respiration also, all these things. Then we have nitrogen dioxide, they are also released from the same sources, majorly from the vehicular pollution, and they also leads to lung absorption and many other toxic issues. Then we have sulfur dioxide. This is also a colorless gas, but it has an odor. This is also released from vehicle emission, and it causes acid rain. Remember, it causes acid rain. Then we have ammonia. This causes eutrophication. It is released by basically agriculture and animal husbandry. Majorly agriculture and animal husbandry is a source for ammonia, and it is very reactive alkaline gas. It reacts very fast. Then we have lead. This is very heavy. It is a heavy metal and corrosive, and it it is released from metal processing, very metal industries, and it can lead to neurotoxicity. Basically, children get affected by it, and their brain capacity gets disrupted. So we have studied all about these 8 pollutants in a detail, and then we have also studied the sources. Now let's see how we are controlling them. We have CPCB. It was established in 1974. It gets its power from Air Act and the Water Act. Basically, these 2 acts are giving its power. It has a function of basically controlling the air pollution and measuring out many things. And there are certain initiatives that are important for air quality. For example, we have National Air Quality Monitoring Program. So we wanted to monitor air quality in a real-time basis, and we wanted to monitor throughout the country. So we started this National Air Quality Monitoring Program, NAMP. How it works? It basically works as it determines the status and trend of the ambient air quality to ascertain whether the prescribed ambient air quality standard are violated, and to identify non-attainment cities. Basically, this this initiative has a objective that, okay, I will find out what is the status and what is the trend throughout the time. Then it will also go after people, after cities that are violating the limits, and also it will declare non-attainment cities. What are non-attainment cities? We will discuss it later. Non-attainment cities are basic funda that for 5 years somebody is breaching these targets, and every year we will update a list of non-attainment cities based on 5-year data. What are the air pollutants that are covered? Air pollutants that are covered in NAMP are 4: sulfur dioxide, SO2, oxides of nitrogen as NO2, respirable suspended particle matters, that is PM10 and 2.0. Then we have fine particulate matter, that is PM 2.5. Continuous ambient air quality stations. Remember, this is very important. This most people don't know. CAAQMS. This is under part of this NAMP only, in which we are monitoring in real time. Every time we are monitoring the air quality. That is very important across the country through standalone remotely monitored machines. This becomes very important because this will give us real time data. Now we have National Clean Air Program. In order to implement all these initiatives to clear the air around the country, we have National Clean Air Program. This program is a larger program which goes from top to bottom. It basically started by Ministry of Environment and Forest Climate Change in 2019. It has an aim to improve quality in 131 cities, that is non-attainment cities, and million plus cities, 131, and 24 state unity by engaging all stakeholders. What are non-attainment cities? Ambient air quality levels exceeding national ambient air quality standards, that is NAAQS, for 5 consecutive years, and we will update this annually. So this I have already discussed. The program envisages to achieve reduction up to 40% or achievement of national of NAQS standards of PM10 and PM 2.5 by 2025-26 in comparison of the base year 2017. This is the target of NCAP. A little bit about CAG. 140 Article 140 establishes CAG. President appoint it. President only can remove it, and they can resign to president also. But the removal can only be done on the same ground as Supreme Court. The tenure is of 6 years or 65 years, whichever comes earlier, they can resign to president. Also, president appoints it under his hands and seal. This is very important. It is an independent body that is a guardian of public purse and control the entire financial system of the country at both the state and center level. Then we have duties of in Article 149. So it is determined, the duties and functions are determined by the Parliament. So they basically audit the accounts related to all the expenditure from the Consolidated Fund of India, states and union territories. The CAG submits 3 audit reports to the President: audit report on appropriation account, audit report on financial account, and audit report on public undertaking. So CAG basically puts these reports, President puts in the House, and then Public Account Committee takes up these reports. What is the PUC certificate? So basically, Central Motor Vehicle Rules 1989 says that all kinds of vehicle, BS 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever it is, you have to gain a PUC certificate, or your CNG or LPG, whatever, you have to have PUC certificate. And then state can issue an authority that, okay, go to this agency and they can issue the PUC certificate, and every year you need to get it, and it is valid for 6 months. Validity of BS 4 and BS 6 is for 12 months, but rest is 6 months. So you have to get a new PUC certificate by then. What we need to do to improve air quality? Very simple. The article says that we need to go phase wise and data driven approach. Phase 1, 2 and 3. What he's saying that in phase 1, build local emission profiles to identify the biggest polluting source. So locally you develop this polluter map, and then you go in phase 2, link funding directly to targeted action based on that data, then link fund to that, then track reductions in emission, and then track and monitor. So this is a phased manner, that okay, first draw map, then fund, and then monitor. So we need to basically go out of this Western trap. So in West, what is happening? They have a lot of mechanism, and then they use a lot of technology. What we are doing, we do not have basic mechanism to resolve this pollution, but we are putting a lot of technology into it, meaning that you will put a very sensitive sensor on a particular area, that okay, we will monitor the air quality. What will you do with that monitoring? So instead of spending a lot on that sensor, or let's say a lot of sensors, try to develop the basic mechanism, that you have cleaning, road cleaning by machines, you have sprinkler systems, you have many other green wall solutions in order to control air pollution. Then you can implement all these sensors and AI technology to monitor and then improve upon your thing. So this is Western trap. We should not fall into Western trap. Also, we should have smoke towers, real-time apportionment, and then AI dashboards may appear innovative, but they offer little solution, because we do not have processes and different type of things that are basically happening in the developed world. Cities like London and Los Angeles, they sophisticated प्रोग्राम टेक्नोलॉजी लेके आते हैं, बट वो इसलिए लेके आते हैं क्योंकि वो एक सीक्वेंस में आ रहे हैं, उनका पहले काम हो चुका है जो होना चाहिए था. We should basically do not think about long term innovation, that is important, but we should come up with a short term scalable models on which we can act upon, we can solve them. India must create separate funding stream, one for research and one for immediate action. What are the global practices? We have global practices like China closing the coal plants, Brazil using the community-led waste management system, California reinvesting in pollution revenue, and then London is banning coal use way before then launching sensors. India must do the same. We should do federalism-friendly, subsidy-driven, and tailored for its informal economy. We should have solutions. World Bank report is also saying that around 6.1% of GDP can be lost globally with the air pollution. So this is it. Try to attempt this question for this article. So this is it for today's DNA discussion. We will meet again tomorrow. Thank you and goodbye.